Hi, this is Antoinette, and today's video topic is going to be worldwide energy vampires. They're an army, literally, and yes, diabolically they are. Now, to describe energy vampire, they're usually called narcissists, and they come in different levels of narcissism. There's different kinds. There's the one that's kind of more outspoken, and then you got the covert kind, and what have you. Now, I prefer to call them energy vampires because they do suck your energy, and that is really what they're doing. Okay, so they are worldwide, and they do come in different economic, levels. There's the millionaires and different types, your middle class, you name it. The majority of the world is poor and in poverty, so there are millions in there too. So, like I say, as I said on my last video, do not confuse poverty with humbleness, because a energy vampire is not humble. Okay, they might play it off like they are, but actually they're after something. Typically they're people that you love very much, and it could be a child, a sibling, a spouse, okay, a relative, somebody that you're very close to. Typically they are somebody that you probably love very much. I mean, there's also narcissists that can go from one fleeting affair to another, and they're going to go drain and continue draining, each and every victim that they possibly can, till the point where they end up drained by another narcissist, because usually, what comes around goes around. But they're worldwide, and I would call them more like, okay, they're like an army, but like more like a legion, and there's a whole bunch of them in Hollywood. They're energy vampires, and if you need to get, you'd have to really go kind of like deep into the the darker inner part of rabbit hole type thinking in order to understand how they do it. Okay, typically they're draining you emotionally, causing you to suffer depression, feeling debilitated, like if you can't function, think well, just depending. They typically abandon a situation. If they're a sibling or like a child or something, they can, they're always, out doing something, and then who knows what the heck they're going to do next. And they could be somebody who is, might end up in prison, or somebody that keeps repeating the same things that they do over and over. They can show a very loving character when they want something. They can put on the persona of a very loving, caring person. Lots of times, when that person, it could be a mother figure. I've known like parents that have struggled and with somebody like a child or a daughter, son, whatever, keeps going back into jail and stuff, and it's really hard for them to believe that their child could have killed somebody or tried to kill somebody or did 3 murders or whatever. These are not the type of people that you consider to do such like kind of like psychopathic things. Okay, they won't show you that aspect of themselves, okay, but these people will put you through a lot of torment through your life, and it is like a form of trauma bonding. I think a lot of times in the spouse lover live together type situation, it is a form of trauma bonding, definitely, and probably a father, mother, child situation. It's they can put you into a lot of trauma. Almost feel like you're gonna probably have a nervous breakdown, because I've known a few people that they had problems, you know, with one of their kids, and some of these kids, you know, if they're more towards the, you know, better looking side, some of them can have multiple children, and or a man with multiple children from different women, and or things like that, and they could be your child. Okay, so some of them do have certain things in common, having to do with, you know, continuous love affairs, or, you know, partners. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, and it's very hard, you know, especially in a parent type situation, that this person, this child can be so nice, so loving, so caring, so whatever, and turn around and do certain things. And, you know, once you pull their, I don't know, your security or monetary or some type of beneficial thing towards them, they can hate you with the venom. Literally hate you with the venom. And you would probably never guess that a child that could hate you so much and have so much scorn. Typically, they have attachments of devils, of, you know, of these types of devils, that some of them can have more devils than just one, and typically they are of that type. They're highly manipulative. The covert ones pretty much know how to, you know, treat different people of different, you know, respects. Like, oh, that's my aunt, and she's, you know, more respectable, so I put on my respectable face. And then, you know, they usually people of different masks. They're chameleons, and oh, this is the boss, and this and that, and depending on the honor or respectability that they figure to give you, that's what they're going to give you. But they're usually probably the type of people that you probably wouldn't suspect at all do what they do, you know, behind, you know, closed scenes. They usually hang out with people of a lesser, I don't know, social status in themselves, I guess you would say it like that. Because they always like to be the, I don't know, the show, possibly. So typically, however they were raised, they will usually, as time goes on, lower their social standards of friends and stuff like that, because they typically like to be, you know, the more noticed one, or, you know, the one that looks better, or things like that, you know. So trust me, some of them can sink pretty low to certain social standards of people. I mean, like literally down to the, you know, like let's say a person of a certain, I don't know, social status, whatever. You know, I don't mean it to be like putting people in any caste system. What I really mean is like, okay, a person was raised in this type of environment, like, you know, no family is perfect, but you know, you should have a certain amount of morals or ethics or whatever have you, you know, or how you live, keeping, you know, your place clean, or all these standards that maybe they grew up with. But as they get older, you know, they're typically the type of people that they'll go actually hang out with, you know, be their friends or their social people. They're usually going to be below that standard, and they can keep dropping it and dropping it and dropping it till they're down to, darn, how low you gonna go? Like seriously, to where like they're already like being around like people that, I hate to say it that way, but they're just like a pestilence. Like they are absolutely useless, I don't know, completely, you know, selfish minded, out to get something for themselves. We're talking, you know, even to the point of, you know, you know, dirty sluts with older men, using older men, you know, sucking them for their money, you know, in exchange for, you know, sex, disgusting sex. Just things like that, you know, they can get pretty raunchy and pretty low out there, and far more unattractive people, and I'm not talking that everybody's in complete poverty at that point, but really these people are probably the most immoral, unethical, no scruples, whatever, and typically, you know, it'll just keep falling and falling and falling, and those are basically be the people that they'll be with, okay, because they always have to be, you know, somewhat above them, or they're the only ones with the car, or who knows what, you know, they always have to have something that they feel like certain other people don't have, and you know, because like they might like ignore you, and we're talking about spouses and, you know, lovers, your children, and unfortunately I have no idea, you know, somewhere in their life, typically as like a teenager, a child or something, there was some form of I don't know, possibly abandonment, abuse, sexual abuse, who knows, having sex like too young to understand it. They were when they were younger, like, I don't know, already contracting other people that have these attachments, and basically you'd be surprised that through sex, and I know a lot of people don't understand that, is that they are like passing them to you, okay, and that's in a sexual way, okay, not everything's sexual, a lot of it is just like and they sometimes you let's just put it in a spousal lover type situation. The longer they're with you, the longer you become their supply. So if you've had like a long-term marriage with them, you have been like a very good source of supply of draining your energy, and causing a lot of torment and suffering and depression when they leave, or they're out, you know, screwing around, or who knows what, or they basically show you that they don't care and make you feel disregarded, discarded, whichever. It's a and then they come in, love bomb you, oh, like you're the greatest one, you're the best, you're everything, blah blah blah, whatever. And there's a lot of people that will tell you in many videos of how they operate like that, like you're like their big, they're your biggest fan, but they're also your biggest hater. You'd be surprised. And I know you would never ever think that these people could slander you, make you look like the villain, try to make it seem like if you're the one with the problem, you're the one with mental issues, you're the one that they have to support, or who knows what. They like people in that respect, like very attached to them. They like to be chased so that they can ignore you or act like here she comes, you know that one that looks 10 times better than me, whatever. I'm just saying, they're not all unattractive. Some of them can be attractive, and that's even a plus for them because they never get over themselves. And then the ones that are unattractive, like the lower level, you know, like a lot of sluts and whores and stuff are narcissists, and they'll tell you whatever the hell you want to hear. They're usually just out to exploit other people, and you'd be surprised how they exploit older men. It's like really ridiculous. And some of them, they're not even like good looking at all. They're like really pretty raunchy. So that's a pretty sad situation, you know, when it comes to that, you know, when it really does come to that. Another thing is like that if you think of, you know, like, let's just say, you know, let's just go down the rabbit hole here a bit to kind of understand how this energy is, how they take from you. Okay, now, if you ever seen a creepy movie, a horror movie, or I know there's one, I can't remember it, but they do like satanic rituals and they go and sacrifice a person. Typically, they prefer somebody innocent, pure, child, what have you. And the torture and the torment and the suffering and agony that they put on that child or whatever, they're living off that energy. And I know there's a movie where it shows like something really creepy like that, about this little cult that was, you know, had killed a child and did that. I can't remember the name of the movie, but they were like, as the child was suffering, because they like people to suffer, that there has to be a certain level of suffering in that, you know, and fear and suffering and all this. But not everybody's out to sacrifice you for your blood. They are taking in that pain, the suffering and everything, and it gives them vitality. So if you're with somebody that is a narcissist, and some of them are more extreme where they can get worse and worse as they get older, they abandon you, and lots of times, like seriously, you've been with somebody a certain amount of time already where you already know they're a dumbass, a jackass, an a-hole, and stuff like that, and you're already like, why the heck do I suffer this way? Like, what is it that I am like in this suffering, depression, whatever, when you know damn well that person is a bitch or a freaking bastard to do some of the things that they've already done. So why are you in this constant whatever anytime they abandon you? It's because they have attached or themselves to you, and they feed off your energy just the way it does, except without blood. You know, without blood, those are the perfect vampires. They want the blood. They really are doing sacrifices, blood sacrifices. So whether they're torturing an animal or a person, unfortunately, you know, they do exist in the world. Then you have the other types that are thriving off the energy, and the emotional energy that you're putting out, that suffering and stuff. Do they care while you're doing it? No, they don't. They actually do not have a conscience. It's kind of weird. If you're in that kind of like a type of bondage and stuff, you know, I would strongly suggest that, you know, you start getting yourself prayed over at a Bible-based church, and just keep doing it for protection. I mean, if you have to say, hey, I'm dealing with a narcissist or whatever, there are people there that actually do understand what they are. And do that because, and start learning about them. Learn about other people's experiences, because these people exist in every single language, every single country, every single economic level, from poverty all the way up to, you know, celebrity status or whatever. And they are vampiric nature. Some of them are probably, you know, at least up in some echelons, they probably just peer out like an entity, you know. But for the most part, a lot of people do have these attachments, and there is like a childlike energy to them that always probably makes you feel compassion. The more empathetic you are, the more you're going to be, or the more spiritual you are, more in like God, Jesus Christ sense, because dark spirits can't really thrive too much off of one another because they're both dark energy, so they'll probably like drain themselves out quickly. Okay? But for somebody else that is more, I don't know, like faith-based and stuff like that, more empathetic, and there's a lot of empathetic people, you know, and like that's what they're going to attach themselves to. And so it's very important to know how they drain your energy, very similar to, and like, you know, human sacrifice. That's really what they're doing, but they're just not like sacrificing you. But you'd be surprised that the longer of, like if you're a longtime spouse or a longtime, you know, live-in partner, or you become kind of like the base of their support of that. And you'll start noticing, like as years go by, married to somebody like that, you're really starting to, you'll start seeing through their lies. You'll start kind of seeing like how they care but they don't care, emotional detachment and stuff like that. And yet then they abandon you. Whether you told them to get out or they decide to leave, whatever, there's going to be a lot of friction. There's going to be a lot of butting heads the longer you're with these people. And then they'll just go vanish. You know, trust me, they're not out there suffering. They're out there using that. If then you'll start feeling this trauma of emotional despair that they're putting you through. And you're probably over there thinking, well, hell, you know, why should I feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? I didn't want to be with that person. I didn't want to be with them anymore. You know, they're just a-hole, you know? But you'll start feeling that, and that's trauma bonding. It's trauma bonding. And it's because it's kind of like if Dracula, you know, bit a victim and you were one of Dracula's main supplies. So as soon as that guard or the protection, or you have to start blocking your heart towards them, okay? Some people say heart chakra, you know, start blocking and protecting your heart and your emotions from them, okay? Start observing them, you know, refrain from sexual relations, whatever, and start working on yourself. Start working on yourself and start watching videos, get yourself educated, and you might go into, like, you know, a little bit of a deep space there, you know, as you start realizing how it really works. And when they don't have that supply from you, they feel it. They feel it. 50 miles away, 100 miles away, 2,000 miles away. They feel the stop of it. They feel suddenly they'll start losing their manipulative powers, the charm that they use on other people. Actually, they're probably going to start seeing the truth of things. They're going to start even coming out of their own delusions, you know. And it's pretty painful, you know, what they will feel. But all you have to do is remember the pain they put you through, which they did know. They did know they were doing that to you. I mean, they don't have to be the smartest, you know, apple on the tree. They do know what they're doing, strangely. I mean, even like a dumb idiot, you know, like a literal, you know, like a stupid slut with the lowest IQ, doing this to older men or whatever, how they exploit people. They do know how they do it. They love bomb, blah, 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 and then they pull it away, like, oh, you talk to me, whatever, and ignore them, and then they causing that other person to be in a form of bondage. And so that's one of the things they start doing right away is like, you know, bonding and then pulling themselves away and then bonding with you again and then pulling out your energy and then they bond with you again, you know, and then they pull out that energy. It's a constant thing that they do. It's a constant thing of utilizing your energy and stuff. I mean, if they can use it with lust, it'll probably work with that too, you know, like lust possibly, you know, or, you know, making, you know, like a dirty whore, making a man think that she just loves them and stuff and like that, and then this stupid idiot doesn't want the dirty whore with other guys because she will. And that's another form of pulling them in. There's so many different ways that they use. Typically, those ones will probably just move from people to people because they're wasted usually and ugly. And but the ones that thrive are typically often with somebody, I don't know, more faith-based, somebody far more empathetic. And it doesn't, just because if you're empathetic doesn't mean you're stupid. There's a lot of intelligent people that are empathetic. Some people are highly intelligent. You know, I don't consider myself stupid at all. I don't. But the bonding is a whole other spiritual aspect to it. It's diabolical too. And it's amazing. The longer you stay with them, you know, how much more they'll put you through. So you have to be educated on it. So I encourage everybody to get educated as much as possible on these types of people. If somebody has kept abandoning you, there could even be domestic violence in there too. A lot of things, you know, lots of ways. How if you ever find yourself in a situation where you know somebody is absolutely not good for you and keeps getting away with stuff and insulting your good character or whatever and stuff, you're probably with one. You probably are with one, and or your children, you know, you might want to see videos on when it's your child and stuff like that. But I've been a witness to, you know, horrendous backstabbing of a daughter towards the father, and she just keeps getting in trouble and stuff. She has like 5 kids from 5 different guys. That's another thing that they might have in common, is multiple children from multiple partners and stuff. They partner up with the people, and then they like stop caring for them. They're usually causing attachments with other people, and they are people that do have demons. I'm sorry to tell you, but they do. And sometimes the demon just kind of like really starts to take over them. And until you start learning how to pull your energy back and start protecting it, protecting your heart, your emotions, and you know, start seeing them, you know, for the serpent that they are, that's where you want to start. That's where you want to start. And unfortunately, when they lack that in you, they start feeling the reverse aspect of it. And sometimes that might be, you have to probably just like start starving those demons. And because the demons will they're starving for your that emotional trauma that you're putting out. Okay, they thrive on it. Even if that person, absolutely, trust me, they don't give a damn about you at all. They don't really have a conscience. So the more demons are contracting, the less conscience that they have. So if you want to starve them, I mean, and save yourself, because you do have to save yourself. It comes down to where you don't have a choice. These people are in competition with you. They don't see love as a give and take. Love is a competition to overtake your potential and thrive off of your energy, unfortunately. So salvation cannot come to them, if that's what you have in mind, unless you pull back that energy, and you pull back that energy, and they start losing all their manipulative powers. Okay, trust me, that's really what happens, and it might be a sad thing to watch. But it might be the very thing that saves their soul, okay? Because they have been very godless, ungrateful, fakers, manipulators, and only care mostly for their own happiness. And they, I don't know, they discard people that they should love. They usually hurt the people that love them the most. It's kind of like one of those things where, you know, they hurt the people, and that's how they derive this energy from, by hurting the people that they, somewhere in there, love the most. Okay? To where they don't love you. Okay? I know it's strange and diabolical. It's like sacrificing for their own selfish needs and desires. And they can get loathsome after a while. Sacrificing those people that love them the most, or the people that will hurt and be in despair for them the most. They are thriving off that light, that compassion, and that energy. It's pretty diabolical. It really is. It's pretty deep. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that. And I hope you all got like kind of like the picture of how they thrive off of that. And in the, you know, like these demonic attachments, you know, they use love, they discard love, and they torture love. And they thrive on that. And these people sometimes don't know who they really are, because they've been like manipulating and mimicking human emotion and everything for a very long time. And a lot of people, like deep down inside, there is someone in there. There is someone in there. But until they're deprived of that, that's the only way. Like the demons have to be starved out of them. Like seriously. And I'll do more on that in another time. But I'm going to leave that one at that point. Okay? And other than that, God bless you all. Pray for all of you that are, you know, in some form of bondage. It doesn't mean you're stupid. Some of you, like, there's a lot of you that are highly intelligent. I'm not kidding you. and you're stuck in this form of bondage. Okay, but God is here to set you free. Right this day, yesterday, day before, millions and millions, hundreds of thousands upon thousands are being released from this bondage. God and his angels, it's judgment time. It's judgment time. For all those disbelievers, they're going to be believing. They're going to be believing here pretty soon. They are. Anyway, God bless you all. We'll have another video on this topic another time, and I need to say a little bit more of the dreams I've had throughout my lifetime, and if you want to check in on those, subscribe and leave a comment.